Pinocchio in outer space. Get set for adventure.
There's Mars, dead ahead.
They land smack in the middle of giant creatures and escape only to find more danger wherever they go in this full-length cartoon special.
Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, your agent of animated awesome. Your awesome agent of animation. Take your pick. X7 here, the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Available wherever you get your podcast listening, wherever you get your podcasts. And then the next day, it'll be available on YouTube. So, tonight, as you might have guessed, we're going to talk about Pinocchio in outer space, which was a staple on television in the 70s, probably up to the early 80s, maybe. Then it was released on videotape, and I was surprised to find out how short it actually was. But it's got a fascinating history. It's unlike a lot of cartoons because it was made in Belgium, which how often can you say a cartoon's made in Belgium? What we just heard was a promo from, I want to say, WGN. Does it say? Well,
Pinocchio in outer space. Saturday afternoon at 1:30 here on Channel 9.
Yeah, it says it's a 1986 promo. So I think that's pretty cool. It's from WGN Channel 9 out of Chicago, the Windy Apple. And we will hear another trailer as well. If I can stop it. Go just shrinkify, you bastard. Anyway, it's been a long day at my other assignment, and I'm happy to have this done. Tomorrow, I thought Svengoolie was showing the crawling eye, but he's not. Tonight he's showing Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. So just guess what we're going to be reviewing tomorrow. But before we get into anything else, please like, share, subscribe, vote in the poll, leave a comment, and watch or listen a couple minutes longer than you usually do. I'd really appreciate it. So let's get on to, and if you haven't already got yourself your big old bowl of hummus of perfection, your favorite delivery method, do that now. We've got a lot of pictures to get through here and a lot of stuff to talk about. Pinocchio in outer space here. This is from the DVD, which is where these shots came from. There, Universal presents. It's from this says 1965. Everything else is said 1964, including the DVD cover. And you'll see that later on. Pinocchio's been a bad boy. Takes place after the versions of Pinocchio. It's based on Collodi's Pinocchio story, and it sort of tries to be like Disney, but it's really not. Fred Ladd, you'll know him from Gigantor, Astro Boy, and Kimba, among many other things. My copy of this DVD is signed by one Mr. Fred Ladd. Unfortunately, it's not in here, but 7/24/04. It's 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. Great man, great showman. He was so much fun to listen to, even if he's wrong about Prince Planet. But Pinocchio here, we have a prologue. Let's talk about that. The prologue was 5 minutes long and was not shown all the time. The movie itself runs about 65 minutes, so the prologue would add another 5 minutes to it, but I never saw it until the DVD. It's about how man is going into space. There's the moon, there's a solar flare, there's Venus, allegedly Venus. And they were right, it's got a thick atmosphere on it. And then it's got a nice little probe here headed toward Mars. Dun, dun, dun. Then they go into the movie here, which is Pinocchio in outer space. So let's hear this. Let's backtrack here. We'll get a little...
We're way up here in outer space, ready for adventure.
Outer space, of course, is... space is space. Outer space is a little redundant. I mean, I guess inner space, whatever. So we start out with the Blue Fairy and her grandmother, her mother. I don't know. I've never been able to ascertain the relationship there, but they're satellites are flying around, and her mother, grandmother person, the older fairy there, is whining about it. All these things zooming through there. Why they would be in that dimension, I don't know. But then they go into Pinocchio's history, and she's changed him back from a real boy into a puppet because he's been mean. I tried to get the grab where he cracks the two boys' heads together. At first, he was stopping them from fighting. Then he decided it'd be more fun just to let them run into each other. That might have shown him a lesson. So, Pazap, he's back to a real boy. And then we get the credits. First song, which is the little toy shop, which is. But Peter Laser was Pinocchio. Arnold Stang was Nurtle the Twurtle. Ray Owens was Geppetto. Is he even in here? Yeah, Cliff Owens. This is Cliff Owens. And Mavis Minns was the Blue Fairy. Marva Pius was, I assume it's Pius, was the Blue Fairy. Mother. It says Mother here. Norman Rose was Fedora, the dog. And Kevin Kennedy was the voice of Astro the Space Whale. Let's see if we can hear that.
But good heavens, what's that? And those two astronauts. Who's the strange-looking pilot? And that nice-looking boy with the odd nose?
So this is the trailer. It's beautiful, and I'll include it at the end, of course. Norman Prescott from the original Tale by Collodi. And this song is just sappy. The Little Toy Shop. They only have 3 songs, and they get them over with in a hurry. Goody Good Morning. These two are pleasant, doing the impossible. And Goody Good Morning are pleasant and hummable. But overall, there's some backgrounds. The prologue photography, Douglas Aircraft, looks nice. You can't get the DVD anymore. It's ridiculously expensive, and I'm not selling mine because I've got the autograph and I'm not giving it up. Ray Goossens directed it. I don't know what else he's done. He's a Belgian artist, animator, writer, and director, best known for creating the cartoon character Moosty, which is a cat. Okay. I don't know. These are all Hergé's Adventures of Tintin. A bunch of stuff I'm not familiar with. Sorry, guys. And there's Geppetto and Fedora, and Pinocchio is wishing that his school was on Mars or something like that. Then they turn on their television, tune it in, because even in wherever this little town is, they get really great pictures from outer space of Astro the Whale taking the place of Monstro the Whale, who's just destroying American rockets being sent up, and no one knows how to stop him. There's really great shots. Here's he's talking to a scientician or reporter. I don't know if he's got a name. There's another shot of Astro. He's talking to a diver for some reason about Astro being a mutant. And then the spaceman who's wearing a helmet. So it's just kind of a funny little gag running there. Sending him to school. Now we know what's going to happen here. Pinocchio's not going to make it to school. He gives him a quarter or something for dinner. And he's singing his song, A Goody Good Morning. The frogs are helping out. So I know frogs can sing, right, Agent Frog? But there you go. You got frogs in here. And here are 2 con men, Groovy and Sharp. The fox and the cat. So he's a beatnik. Groovy's a beatnik. And Sharp is Fox, who's not a beatnik. He looks more like a dandy. But they're kind of fun. Of course, they take from Pinocchio's money and sell him a bogus book on hypnotism. And Nurtle then lands and thinks he's on Mars, even though it does look kind of green for being the red planet. We find out Pinocchio's nose still grows, and now Pinocchio is having a conflict with himself, and he talks to like 8 different people in his head. No wonder the poor kid can't figure out what's going on. And he goes off with Nurtle the Twurtle from Twirtle Dee, but not Twirtle Dumb, I guess. And off they go on to their adventure. They're headed for Mars.
No secrets, it's Pinocchio. Pinocchio in outer space.
Hey, you're not afraid of me, are you?
No, sir.
So here's an inside of Nurtle's rocket, or his spaceship. It's actually a spaceship. It's not a rocket. It's a pretty cool looking little thing. There it is. It's heated up when it went into Mars's atmosphere. which wouldn't happen. And Pinocchio caught on fire because he's wood.
Ooh, what's the big idea? What did I say? What did I say?
Pinocchio, the beloved boy puppet whose nose swooshes out every time he tells a lie, is here in an all-new, full-length feature in color.
In color. Now, the animation is really quite nice in this movie, and it's got gorgeous design. It doesn't. I mean, they emulate Disney a bit, especially with the first three songs, the only three songs. And when Pinocchio's singing, the birds fly around him, the animals all watch him, and they're happy. Look at the frogs; their smiley faces. But once we get into outer space, it turns into a more serious movie. Now, some of the critics have said, "I can't believe they put Pinocchio in outer space." Why not? I mean, it was fun. I saw this as a kid in the theater and loved it, and you'll see why in a moment. I thought the movie was going to be really Dullsville because of the songs, and it was just going to be some kiddie pap, but it proved me wrong, and one of those times I was never happier to be proved wrong. Some science. We get some science. Mars has a fifth less gravity. I think John Carter taught me that too. Than the Earth. So they're headed over to look at something. A hop, skip, and a jump away, and Pinocchio can't master gravity. And he was worried at first about not being able to wear an air helmet when Nurtle says, "You're a puppet. You don't breathe." It's just like, oh yeah. Some plants there planted in a row like somebody did it.
Just great for the whole family. Meet Pinocchio's pals, old and new. His father, Geppetto.
Yep. And there's Phobos and Deimos. They get named properly. I wish I could remember the Martian names from John Carter, but I do not. They're on Barsoom anyway. And there's a city, a gleaming city in the distance. So they've got to go meet it.
The Blue Fairy, the Sly Fox, and in the space world, Nurtle, the jet-propelled turtle. And marvel of marvels, Astro, the sky-flying, rocket-swallowing whale.
So they just gave the whole plot away. So, but before we get to there, the ship disappears because a giant sand crab is playing with it. Now, I've seen crabs. None of them have eyes like this, and none of them have fangs. Sharp teeth like that. There's a bit of dialogue where the Nurtle tells Pinocchio to hypnotize him because he's going to do that to Astro, and he says, "I can't even tell where their eyes are." Obviously, you record the dialogue first, so they probably, the voice artist never saw what they were going to see, what they were looking at. You wouldn't notice unless you've watched the movie, 10 times or something. Second crab appears, a third crab appears, then they have a little get together when there's the ship blasting off. And there it goes. They fly to the city and it's been wrecked by something that leaves a whale imprint. So he either landed on it because he wouldn't have hit it with he's not a fish. Whales don't have vertical fins. They have flukes that are horizontal, even if you're a mutant. But just look at the painting here and the way this looks. It's just it's really nifty. I mean, it's very 60s, and it probably started in 63. In this movie, it says it was released December 22nd, 1965. I may have to change the title of it. This says 71 minutes, and that's with the prologue. So it's like 65 minutes without it. The DVD has the prologue in it. So I highly recommend it. I mean, you can't find it. Just good luck. Norm Prescott would be Filmation. Fred Ladd, of course, did his own stuff. And it was released by, of course, Universal Pictures. I don't know how much money it made. The film was adapted into a comic strip by Willie Lateste and published in Tintin, which would be kind of fun to look at. There's the Martian airport, which somehow missed Astro's rampage. And there's a little shot of him flying above it. And that's the Nurtle's radiation detector. And he's saying his Twurtle pledge. I don't recall what it is, but notice he's not wearing his helmet in the ship. I just love this shot. It flashes red and back to normal. And there's water on Mars, which is a clue as to where Astro came from. little bitty sand crabs, little bitty scorpion monsters, giant scorpion monster ish thing with only like claws and two legs. I don't know how that thing moves around. It's no black scorpion, but it looks pretty. It was peers over and surprises everybody. Something that looks like a Plateosaurus. So there's lizards or lizard like creatures on Mars, and I was happy to see that. I mean, you got a bunch of monsters in about 10 minutes. And this one scares the. Oh, it does have two other legs. So it scares the scorpion off, then eats everything inside. We get a brief shot of a Martian spider, or maybe it turns into a bat rat spider crab. And then if Mars is an angry red planet. And there's where the little Astros show up. And they're, in canals, underground. And a giant turtle. Maybe Gamera was out there to rescue them, but they didn't recognize it. 2 years before he was free, or a year, the same year he was freed from his icy cocoon. There's a nice shot of the Plateosaurus. I think call it a Plateosaurus. It's not. It's got fangs, but apparently they're really scared. Ah! And the obligatory Martian sandstorm. But this time, earlier, the Nurtle's ship couldn't get out because it had sand in it, but just blasts off. And sand hits the nuclear reactors and boom, apparently it kills everything in there. We don't know if there's any other cities on Mars. I'm sure there should be. I mean, why would people be flying in and out of there? But that's it they blast off and get swallowed immediately, get swallowed by Astro, pardon me, Astro the whale. Foreshadowing Astro Boy, apparently. Well, he didn't swallow things. But Pinocchio's all sad, and the blue fairies, letting him have it, that he's endangered himself, and he's endangered Nurtle, and his dad's worried about him. But she says, you can do this. They figure out to go out the blowhole because Monstro, they referenced that Pinocchio had been swallowed by a whale originally, but did not say where or why or who. They didn't name him because they probably really wanted to avoid trouble with Disney because who knows, Disney had long arms, still does. But since Pinocchio was by Collodion, was a much older story, then they could. Let me look here when that was. Pinocchio was written in 1883, so even by then it was public domain. They fly out, and Astro wakes up and starts following them. But they've bent the dorsal fin on the ship, so it's flying round and round in like little concentric circles. It's a pretty exciting sequence and pretty good ending. Mary missed him. They put on the jets, but it's still going. I was worried, that I didn't know what was going to happen. I was probably 7 or 8. It was a kiddie matinee, and then it would air on television. I wasn't worried after quite a few times, but I always thought it was longer. I mean, our Channel 2 would show cartoon movies, Alakazam the Great. This one, the Hanna-Barbera adaptation there from Australia of the Three Musketeers, which will be fun to review at some point in time. Because me, I love my swashbucklers, and the Three Musketeers were always fun. But this is what Astro's seeing. So the hypnosis, you see the curved, the hypnosis works, and there he goes. He's all happy. But they realize that they just let Astro tow them to Earth until they realize there's the scientist who sees it. They realize, and heroes, everyone's happy. How they got his picture into the paper before he got there is beyond me, but they're realizing that he's jetting right toward the Earth, and he's going to smash into it naturally wherever that Pinocchio lives. There's no Jiminy Cricket in here, or Jiminy Crockett at the Alamo, but Nurtle desperately tries to slow him down, but his little propulsion units aren't anything compared to Astro. I don't think Astro can fly super fast or do warp drive, because if he's just patrolling between Mars and Earth, he's not flying that much, and who knows what he's eating. But we don't want to think about it. So Pinocchio volunteers to go down and turn the jet around. And of course he does, but he gets blasted full on by the whatever propulsion unit, whatever Astro is using as propulsion. And is he dead? Well, kind of think he is. But then the fairy comes down and turns him back into a real boy, and he's our hero, Pinocchio. And even though Nurtle originally didn't have his helmet on when he met Pinocchio, he has it on now. And Geppetto just doesn't bat an eye that there's a talking turtle in his drawing room, or in Pinocchio's bedroom. And apparently, if the dog, if Fedora likes him, he's okay. If your dog doesn't like somebody, trust your dog. So he revives. He's a human boy again because he sacrificed himself for the good of others. And they're having a fair, and Geppetto's, there's Astro. I don't know what they've done to him. Who knows? He's probably happier though if he's getting fed a lot of fish. But I don't know. They never explain what happened. He's just up there like a blimp, or maybe that is a blimp and not the real Astro. But we're kind of given to think it's the real Astro. And there he is, probably the mayor, because everyone loves Geppetto now, and I'm sure his toys are popular again. That was one of the things he says. Nobody's buying his toys. Nurtle still got his helmet on, but he's leaving. Everyone's saying goodbye. And there they go. Dad, I'm going to be a good boy from now on. And this is our final scene. He does wink. Fedora winks at the audience, saying, "Yeah, sure, kid." But, maybe if you grow, you'd think he'd have gotten a little bigger since the last time. And that's it. That's the end of the movie. Now, the DVD has some extras, and we'll see a few of them. And then I've just there's pre-production sketches. They look a little different. I mean, of course, Pinocchio in Disney was brunette, but nobody looked anything like that. And here's a fun thing. Macy's, apparently there was maybe a parade, a float for the Macy's Day Parade. I don't know. Here's some posters. These are from the DVD. I just cropped them a bit. This is the DVD cover. And here is the inside. So there's the inside. That's exactly what it looks like. This one's a little more beat up than mine. And here's the back. So that'll tell you everything you need to know. It's got commentary with Fred, who's, again, very entertaining. Little toy shop sequence without titles doesn't make it any better, in the still gallery. So I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I still have it. Still plays. Here's a television, or probably a newspaper ad, where it's going to be playing with Rick Nelson, Love and Kisses, with Jack Kelly. Here's some still or lobby cards. I don't remember seeing the lobby cards, so I might have been younger than 6. I might have been 6-ish, but because I remember seeing lobby cards later on, and posters. Here's some posters here. Got some more. All the beloved characters except Jiminy Crockett. Maybe he was with Crockett Promotions. Here's what they would do for radio spots on a 45 RPM. That's rotations per minute for all you kids out there. See the reverse. 50 seconds of spots. I wish I could have found one of those, but there's another lobby, which looks like they're on Earth, because that doesn't make any sense. Lovely poster here. It's a relatively harmless movie. It's a little scary, but kids like to be scared. That's a half sheet, I would assume. I still think Fred Laderman and Fred Ladd are the same person, but because it sure doesn't say that it's anybody different in Wikipedia. And I wish I'd have asked Fred at the time. There's another poster. And that's it. So, highly recommend it. You can probably find this maybe it's on YouTube all over the place. So I don't know. You could download it if you wanted to, the full movie and the trailers that we played. But there's Pinocchio in outer space, my fellow agents. Just remember, if you meet a fox and a cat, and one cat's a beatnik and the fox is a city slicker, don't trust them. They just want your money. So until our next assignment, this is, I still got 38 seconds here. And just
And
the
on
music.
Mars, a world of wonders beyond imagining. astral cities, giant creatures, planet-rocking earthquakes, and more. Plus,
I hadn't planned on that. I thought we only had about 10 seconds left, and I thought we'd get some. Just have that sign us out. So, my apologies, agents.
3 delightful new song hits. So get into orbit with Pinocchio in the all-new full-length color cartoon feature, Pinocchio in Outer Space. It's a blast.
And now, until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off.
We're way up here in outer space, ready for adventure. But good heavens, what's that? And those 2 astronauts. Who's the strange-looking pilot? And that nice-looking boy with the odd nose? No secrets, it's Pinocchio. Pinocchio in outer space.
Hey, you're not afraid of me, are you?
No, sir.
Ooh, what's the big idea? What did I say?
Pinocchio, the beloved boy puppet whose nose swooshes out every time he tells a lie, is here in an all-new, full-length feature in color. Just great for the whole family. Meet Pinocchio's pals, old and new. His father, Geppetto, the Blue Fairy, the Sly Fox, and in the space world, Nurtle, the jet-propelled turtle. And marvel of marvels, Astro, the sky-flying, rocket-swallowing whale. And on Mars, a world of wonders beyond imagining. Astral cities, giant creatures, planet-rocking earthquakes, and more. Plus 3 delightful new song hits. So get into orbit with Pinocchio in the all-new full-length color cartoon feature, Pinocchio in Outer Space. It's a blast.